Senator Simpson, you've seen what's been going on these last few months. House actually voted on the Simpson-Bowles proposal, and it went down decisively. Paul Ryan, the leader of the House on fiscal issues, I suppose, said that Simpson-Bowles was the wrong way to go because there weren't enough spending cuts and there were too many tax increases. What was your reaction? That's your party.
Well, I think my party and I have different views on a lot of things. I guess I'm known as a rhino now, which means a Republican in name only, because I guess of social views, perhaps, or be common sense would be another one, which seems to escape members of our party. Abortion is a horrible thing, but for heaven's sakes, it's a deeply intimate and personal decision, and men legislators shouldn't even vote on it. Gay, lesbian issues, we're all human beings, we're all God's children. What is this? And for heaven's sakes, you have Grover Norquist wandering the earth in his white robes, saying that if you raise taxes 1 penny, he'll defeat you. He can't murder you. He can't burn your house. The only thing he can do to you as an elected official is defeat you for re-election. And if that means more to you than your country when we need patriots to come out in a situation when we're in extremity, you shouldn't even be in Congress.
But talk about Ryan particularly, because what I'm struck by is the Simpson-Bowles plan calls for an awful lot of spending cuts, and yet those weren't enough.
Well, Erskine can tell you, we don't call for, you can't cut spending your way out of this hole, you can't grow your way out of this hole, and you can't tax your way out of this hole. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, we tell these people. This is madness. If you want to be a purist, go somewhere on a mountaintop and praise the east or something. But if you want to be in politics, you learn to compromise. And you learn to compromise an issue without compromising yourself. Show me a guy who won't compromise, and I'll show you a guy with rock for brains.
Erskine, you're hopeful. You think that that some of the idea is gaining traction, and there's a kind of inevitability. If you're going to do this, there has to be some approach that's pretty close to what you're describing.
Well, Fareed, I believe the markets will force us to. I've spent my life in the markets, as you know, and look at what's happening at the end of the year. We have about $7 trillion worth of economic events that are happening. We have the expiration of the Bush tax cuts. We have the patch that's been placed on the alternative minimum tax that will affect so many middle-class taxpayers. We have a payroll tax deduction that's expiring. We have these senseless, mindless, across-the-board cuts that come from the sequester that comes as a result of a failed super committee. All of those are hitting at once. And the economic effect of those just next year are about 2% of GDP. If we have a negative effect of 2% of GDP, we'll be right back in recession. And you better believe that the people of America will be calling on these members of Congress to do something. So we think something will happen in the lame duck session. We believe it'll probably be a two-step process where we end up setting up a framework with a time frame in order to get something done.
Boy, that's pretty optimistic.
Yeah, and don't forget, it doesn't have to be exactly what the Simpson-Bowles plan has, but it's got to be a balanced plan. You've got to have some small amount of revenue that comes from reforming the tax code, and there's broad agreement that the tax code needs to be reformed. So I believe that you will find, if in fact we can get the right kind of momentum going, I think you'll find strong support. We've been working with 47 members of the Senate, an equal number of Republicans and Democrats, a same kind of group in the House of Representatives, and I believe this group will come together during the lame duck to put forward a plan like this. Now, I don't think the plan itself will be implemented during the lame duck, but I think there will be an agreement that we have to do some kind of balanced plan. If we don't, then I think you will see the markets really take a really adverse look at the country. And I think you'll see us lose another downgrade in our credit, and I think you'll see interest rates pop up, and before long you'll see the availability of credit lessen. So I think we could have a real problem if we don't do something and do something relatively quick.
And you know who will get hurt the worst in that process when interest rates go up and inflation kicks in? The little guy. The one that everybody on their hind legs talks about. We're doing this for the little guy, the most vulnerable, the unfortunate. Well, Merry Christmas. those guys are going to get eaten.